Hello guys, so I'm gonna watch another video showing on my screen where P2B was blasting Tinubu governments, how they destroy democracy. Just take a look for yourself and then I'll show you where Tinubu wants P2B that he should stop ruining his government or running his government down. Just watch that video first and I'll be with you guys in a minute.
They started in 1999, laid the foundation. Some people came and took it to a decking, and some people were trying to raise it to first floor. And some people came and knocked everything down. That's the situation where we are now. Everything has been knocked down. Nothing works. And I'm somebody who can say this exemplarily. I became a governor through the court when President Obasanjo and Atiku were in government. I did not pay the court 1 naira. I was sitting in my house in the office and the court declared me winner. When a governor is hosting them, it can't happen in Nigeria today. When I was being impeached, the president sent people to come and intervene on my behalf. Ken Namani came begging house people not to impeach me. Today, the president impeaches the person. So that is the thing. So it's collapsed. So it's failed. They were begging my house not to impeach me. And they were PDP. I was in Africa. And they were begging. President was calling me and said, Peter, are you okay? Even when I was impeached, President Obasanjo called me and said, are you okay? Are you safe? When I go back from the court, when court eventually declared me under Anjuba, President Yaradua called my phone in London and said, congrats. I said, President, I can't come back because, you know, if I come back, these people, he said, tell me the flight in which you're coming back. And I told him, when I came in the first time, military people came to receive me at the airport. I couldn't believe it and took me straight to him. Now the president will ask me not to come back here again. So it failed. Let's not talk about it. Let's talk about how we are going to rebuild it. It's collapsing.
So guys, after P2B and other people made a statement about the democracy of Tinubu, how Tinubu destroyed the democracy of Nigeria. And it's not only P2B that talked in that video. It's not all but that have talked. Govt have talked about democracy, how this government have destroyed it. But Tinubu chose to warn P2B. So just take a listen from People Gazette. So it's an article. So he says Tinubu wants P2B to watch his mouth, stop running his government down. So follow into this article so you get exactly what he said and why he's wanting P2B on this issue of democracy that P2B went to scatter him on social media. So President Bola Tinubu has warned P2B to watch his mouth and stop running his government down. The presidency via statement by Mr. Tinubu's spokesman, which is Bayo Onanuga, condemned Mr. Obi's exaggerated escalation of the incumbent president. Mr. Obi, a former presidential candidate and ex-governor, had accused Mr. Tinubu's government of political brigandage and corruption, claiming that democracy has collapsed in Nigeria. The presidency took an exception to his claim. I will urge him to watch what he says and restrain himself from playing to the gallery. The presidential aide warned his hyperbolic remarks, suited for headlines, had been made without deep reflection and lack of solid logical foundation. He berated Mr. Obi as a discontented and disgruntled politician. Mr. Onanuga reasoned that if democracy had collapsed, as alleged by Mr. Obi, the former Anambra governor would not enjoy free speech. How can the democracy that has threatened over the past 26 years be said to have collapsed? Said the presidential spokesman. Only a discontented and disgruntled Peter, who benefits from the very free speech democracy provides, could perceive such a democratic downfall through his lens. He added, if democracy had indeed collapsed, as P2B claims, and we are living under a regime antithetical to democratic principle, he would not have been able to make his comments on Monday at Emeka Ihedioha's colloquium. Former presidential Olusegun Obasanjo has made damaging comments about the Tinubu's presidency at the colloquium. So they are saying that, assuming that there's no democracy, that P2B wouldn't have the mind to come and say what he said. Like I said, that video went viral. And I think that was what got the attention of APC, because people have making statements ever since. So why that one? And it's not only him that made statements. So then I say that if his claims are right, that why is it that he was able to talk freely? Then I think I have a question for the government. You are saying that we have democracy, that means we have freedom of speech. Why are they arresting TikTokers that are calling out the government? We know how many people that are in prison now that are because they are calling out the government for their failed policies. I know how many TikTokers have been arrested by this same Tinubu government that are claiming that we have that we have democracy in Nigeria, where people can come out and make their free speech, but yet they are arresting TikTokers, arresting Nigerians that comes out to speak. Okay, we have democracy. Why are they suspending some senators that are coming out to expose what they are doing in the Senate? But yet we have democracy. So all these things were the reasons why Tinubu said that our democracy in Nigeria have collapsed. And he's not even the only person that has made such statements. There are many that have talked about this issue of democracy collapsing in Nigeria. Because it's no longer democracy for the people. Because if you claim that this is a democratic country, that means what happened in Rivers State shouldn't have happened. Why? Is because you cannot remove an elected leader from Rivers State, and they're giving them leader that they did not elect or they did not want. That's not among democracy. Democracy is what people want. Allow them. They've chosen Fubara. Why removing Fubara from seats and then putting your own people there? And I overheard that Wike is making a list to give to president, to give all his local government, like people that Wike wants to be replaced in Rivers State. So that means you're working for Wike and not for Nigerians. That does not show democracy. So I think that's the main reason why people have been hammering on this issue that democracy have collapsed in Nigeria. There are some heroes in 1999 took time to build it, and then this current government came and destroyed everything. And I don't think all these things are proof that our democracy have collapsed from what people be saying. But I think I like guys to add your own views in the comment section. I'll see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned, guys.
Well, on the side of Peter Obi himself and his own supporters, especially his supporters, there are those who believe that it's like the real Peter Obi is now coming out when they listen to that interaction at Peter Ihedio's birthday yesterday. Yeah, like they've probably never really seen him that blunt, and then went on and on to actually really fire Tinubu's regime and their disrespect for your constitution, so to say. At that same colloquium, Obasanjo was there too. And similarly, I think the subjects of their meeting or what have you was about the democracy in the contraption as Nigeria is now tilting towards one-party states, where there is just going to be one single party. Others are just subordinate, just like, inconsequential, sort of. So I think that's what really prompted the conversation around what is the state of democracy in Nigeria and what is it in Africa. So Obasanjo on his part was talking about the collapse of democracy in Africa. In fact, he was talking about the degenerated state of your politics in that contraption, your institutions, where some people believe that they have the power to sort of like hijack power, okay? And then they can tell their victim to go to court. Like, go to court is now like a clear mockery of the judiciary in Nigeria. Like, it's become that. So to him, he said, recent developments in Africa seems to have shown that democracy is dying in Africa because of the failure of the leaders of those countries in Africa, which has led to several coup and counter coup in West Africa. They haven't responded to Obasanjo yet, but they've kind of been like abusing him anyway. Now, before we kind of delve into it, there's an observation I really want to point out. I don't know if some of you have noticed that too. When you encounter the Rono coups, yeah, they will tell you that this is how you get to know that they are not by miles, right, representing or represent anything Yoruba. They are not. And if you look at the character, the drug baron, Tinubu, who is their leader, the characters of those who are around him as well, all right, that should give you a better, kind of like a better picture of what degenerates these sewage dwellers are in their thought. And it is so bad, right, that even those who have left the contraption, right, they still dwell very much in this, in this low kind of life. Talking about the Ronukus, they have nothing to do with Yoruba, as much as they have done much damages to, to the reputation of the Yorubas, all because of this drug baron, this certificate forger. They will tell you that Yorubas are very respectful. For example, if you say something about Tinubu, right, most of them will come around and ask you if you don't have respect for your father. Is Tinubu not old enough to be your father? Number one, Tinubu is not your father. All right? Tinubu is the guy who hijacked power in Nigeria only to ruin your lives. You understand? That's what Tinubu is. He's not your father. So when they come around and say you need to respect him, pay attention to them, right? And see how much respect they actually give to those who are even older than Tinubu himself, but they do not agree with Tinubu. Have you observed that, by the way? The Ronukus. They tell you to respect elders, right? But they themselves, who are the reflection of the Tinubu and his clan, right, are pretty much selective of that respect. Because if you are not on the side of Tinubu, you do not deserve their respect. No, you do not. Like Obasanjo, by the way, it doesn't, because to them, they believe that Obasanjo is jealous of Tinubu. That Tinubu's achievement in 2 years beat Obasanjo's record of 8 years. Yeah, that's how deluded they are. Of course, Obasanjo himself is a criminal, right? No doubt, he is. But the thing here is that it kind of more or less like the only president you've had in 26 years, right? Immediately after the military, who pretty much have one or two things credibly that can be credited to him, among many other of his evil and all that. So don't get me wrong. The majority of those who have come after him, for example, well, maybe this is going to sound like I'm actually speaking on his behalf, but I have to. It's just facts, right? It was under him, right, that Nigeria increased their own electricity generation. And for the only time that Nigeria actually invested, right, in improving their own electricity generation in Nigeria. Obasanjo's time. Other since after that, it's been one scandal after the other, one after the other. And guess what? By the time Obasanjo was leaving power, Nigeria was generating over 7,000 megawatts of electricity, distributing about 4,000 of that. Then fast forward to when Egberejo Lantan was leaving, Nigeria was generating over, 8,000 megawatts of electricity and distributing over 5,000 of that. So today, Nigeria's power generation has dropped so drastically, right? Nigeria is struggling to generate 5,000 megawatts electricity. True story. 5,000 after 10 years of APC. So Nigeria has sort of shrunk. So the only person who has something that you can, well, anyway, he was at the colloquium as well, where he said the democracy that is dying in Nigeria is not limited to Nigeria. He even said, that maybe democracy is probably not for Africa. That's Obasanjo, who was a military head of state, as well as a civilian president.
For me, I will do everything to be here with you today, and you know that. And I'm really happy to be here with you. And you have chosen for discussion, which again, I believe, is an indication of your mind, of what you believe for this country. You have chosen for discussion democracy. Is it failing in Africa? Are we talking of democracy, or are we talking of Western liberal democracy? I will not preempt what Bishop Kuka will be saying. But when we talk of democracy, we should remember that in Africa, before the colonial rule and the colonial power, we have a form of government which attended to the needs of our people. And whatever you call it, to me, it is democracy. Because what is democracy about? The American President Abraham Lincoln defined it as government of the people, by the people, for the people. Democracy is meant to be a system of government that delivers, and delivers to all the people, not just a section of the people, not just a few. But what do we have today? I believe since we gone past the Greek democracy, which brought everybody to the square, and everybody has a say in the decision making, which affects everybody, or which affected everybody. Democracy has now become representative democracy. And representative democracy has not taken care of everybody. Today we have democracy, which is government of the people, of small number of people, by a small number of people, over large number of people, who are deprived of what they need to have in life. Now that is not democracy that will endure. So if you are talking of democracy failing in Africa, democracy in Africa has failed. And why has it failed? Because it didn't have any, in context and in content, it's not African. It does not have any aspect of our culture, our way of life, what we stand for, what we believe. Ubuntu. I am because we are. It is I am because I can grab. What sort of democracy brings you and you grab everything and then illegally, corruptly, and you say go to court? When you know that even in the court, you cannot get justice.